We need to practice for it like we do exercise for our physical health. The externalizing of our emotions becomes our focus upon internal skill building and undermines our potential to be happy with ourselves. Help is good and one should get help if needed, but the onus lies with us for our mental health. Psychologists, psychiatrists can help you, but it is you who need to treat yourself. It is us who are the true medicines for our broken souls and our wanted minds. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Pyle.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for introducing us. That was a very apt introduction of the webinar, of the theme given by our respected HOD, sir. We were expecting our Vice Chancellor, sir, to join us as the chief guest for the webinar, but unfortunately he is not here at the moment. But I would like to introduce him here on this platform once again, because there are many other faculties from other universities who have joined us who might not know who our Vice Chancellor, sir, is. So I'm just reading out his brief introduction. Our Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Ramesh Chandra Guhad, is MSc, MPhil and PhD in microbiology. He has been working as Vice Chancellor of Central University, Haryana, Mahendragarh, and he is also the chairman of Indian Academy of Microbiological Sciences. He has served as a member UGC and the joint director of Institute of Lifelong Learning in University of Delhi. He has been felicitated as Fellow of Academy of Microbiological Sciences, FAMC, Fellow of National Academy of Sciences, India, FANSC, Fellow of Biotech Research Society, FBRS, and Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. His major research areas is secondary agricultural, biotechnology comprising of wood degrading enzymes production and their application in biobleaching, bioretting, bio-de-inking, and the production of animal feed and bioethanol. He has developed an eco-friendly process for bleaching of paper pulp using xylans and lacase enzymes, an improved process for bioconversion of wheat straw into nutritionally enriched and digestible animal feed following solid-state fungal fermentation, and an innovative process for the production of bioethanol. He has completed more than 18 projects funded from DBT, DST, UGC, CSIR, MOEF, MNRE, just to mention a few. He has 4 patents to his credits on different areas of lignocellulose biotechnology. He has authored more than 200 publications, including 4 edited books. He has a Google Scholar citation of more than 10,500, H index of 58, and I-10 index of 132. So we may just have an idea of what a great scholar he is, and under his visionary, how the university is growing. Recently, he has served as a member of UGC's chairperson and members of various UGC committees, and also as a member of Executive Council and governing body of UGC NAC and of various colleges and universities. Moreover, he is member expert of Animal Task Forces and Bioremediation Technology of Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and steering committee for the Center of Excellence program of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India at CEMDE, University of Delhi. Professor Guhad has also been the president of Association of Microbiologists of India 2011. He is an associate editor of Annals of Microbiology, editor of Scientific Reports, which is a publication from Nature Publishing Group, Journal of Sustainable Energy, and Indian Journal of Microbiology. He has also served as a guest editor for special issue for biodegradation and 3 biotech journals. Besides, he is a reviewer for various international journals. Professor Guhad is a recipient of the prestigious AMI Lifetime Achievement Award 2019, Professor G.S. Rangaswamy Memorial Award 2017 from Association of Microbiologists of India, AMI Dr. G.B. Manjrekar Award 2014, AMI Platinum Jubilee Lifetime Achievement Award 2013, AMI Titan Biotech Award 2011, Short Term Biotechnology Overseas Associateship Award 2002-3, just to mention a few, because the list is just too long for me to include here on this platform. Professor Kuhar has contributed in the development of model curriculum for UGC in accordance with the CBCS for more than 100 UG courses and drafting UGC regulations on minimum qualifications for appointment of teachers and other academic staff in the universities and colleges and measures for the maintenance of standards in higher education. So we are blessed to have him here. Under his guidance, the university is really flourishing. Although sir could not take time to be with us right now because suddenly he has had another meeting to attend, but he has sent his address. He has very kindly sent his address so that I would like to read to all of you. Sir said, I'm very glad to know that Department of Psychology is organizing its 6th webinar on mental health and you learn to be responsible. On this occasion, I welcome the keynote speaker of the webinar, Dr. Balan Radhakrishnan, Associate Professor, Faculty of Psychology and Education, University of Malaysia, Sabah, and the second keynote speaker, Dr. Malika Sharma, who's a CBT therapist for more than a decade now, from Berkshire, UK. For this wonderful event, I congratulate Faculty of Psychology, Senior Professor Umed Singh, Dr. V.M. Yadav, Dr. Payal Chandel, and other young colleagues and their participants. Title of the webinar justifies itself how mental health is an important aspect of our life. Mental health is important at every stage of life from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. Over the course of our life, if we experience mental health problems, our thinking, mood, and behavior could be affected. Actually, mental illness is a physical illness of the brain that causes disturbances in thinking, behavior, energy, or emotion that makes it difficult to cope with the ordinary demands of life. That is why it's equally important as physical health. According to WHO, mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. In view of this definition provided by WHO, psychologists and mental health practitioners identified 3 key components of mental health: emotional well-being, psychological well-being, and social well-being. Dr. Radhakrishnan will be speaking in detail and more technically on how we can identify the challenges, particularly related with mental health, which are being faced by our youth. With my experience, several areas existing where challenges are emerging. You can see depression, anxiety, stress, suicidal tendency, family violence, and antisocial activities are the most common dysfunctions in the society. And definitely, psychologists can play a vital role to tackle these serious issues. Another speaker, Dr. Malika Sharma, will be talking about special technique, that is cognitive behavior therapy, and how can it be used for the removal of these issues and enhancement of mental health. As much psychotherapy as psychoanalysis, behavior, cognitive behavior, hypnosis, family group, drama, etc., the therapies are helpful for the treatment of various issues. In this view, Department of Psychology can contribute a lot for the betterment and harmony in the society. Again, a very big thanks to the invited speaker who have kindly accepted our invitation and are speaking on this platform, and congratulations to organizing team and participants. Thanks. So this was the message our Vice Chancellor Sir has given to us. Now, may I now please request Dr. Pradeep to introduce our first keynote speaker. Dr. Pradeep, may we have you please?
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you. Please start, please.
Good afternoon to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ashik Was, in absentia, esteemed speakers of the webinar, Dr. Balan Radhakrishnan and Dr. Malika Sharma, Senior Professor and Moderator of the webinar, Professor Umed Singh, Convener Dr. Vishwanand Yadav, Secretary Dr. Payal Chandel, Senior Faculty Members of Central University of Haryana, from other universities, my colleagues and dear participants. I am very happy because I got an opportunity to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Balan Radhakrishnan. First of all, I heartily welcome of Dr. Balan on this wonderful occasion. Dr. Balan is Associate Professor of Faculty of Psychology and Education, University of Malaysia. Sir, you have specialization in the area of industrial and organizational psychology, intervention for social issues, youth and community development, and deviant social and mental health issues. Dr. Balan has completed 12 funded research projects and another 6 are ongoing. You have published 15 research papers in reputed national and international research journals. You have also written several books like UMS Psychology of Industry and Organization, the Malaysian Labour Market, Industrial Relations and Industrial Psychology Issues and Trends, Motivation on Education and Social Deviance. Sir, your several publications are in the proceedings of national and international research seminars and conferences. Dr. Balan has got many awards such as Distinguished Faculty and Social Sciences Award 2018 by Venus Foundation International India, World Inventor Award 2013 by Korean Invention Award under category of Education and Teaching Invention, Silver Award by International Fair Korea. Actually, I have a long list of awards and achievements which I can share. So, without taking much time, because we are already late due to the technical issue, once again I welcome of Dr. Balan and would like to invite to share his views on the topic of recognizing challenges and expanding new horizons for young people. Dr. Balan, please. Now over to Dr. Balan, please.
Can you hear me, Doctor? Everyone, can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Vitu Sharma, and also the Vice Chancellor. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the Vice Chancellor, Professor R.C. Kohat, and also the good friend of mine, Dr. Malik Sharma, and Dr. Payal, Dr. Yadal, and Umat Singh, and I also welcome all the participants, and I also thank you for the University of Haryana, Central University of Haryana, to give me an opportunity to be here on this afternoon to discuss and also to share something related on the mental health. Maybe this is more, of course, mental health now is very global, and every day is an issue, but I will be more focusing on this period of COVID-19 because I have published a paper in Malaysian Psychiatric Journal, which I will share with you later, and also I'm writing some of the journal and also collecting some of the data on the COVID. So I'll be discussing more related to mental health and what are the challenges that we are facing among the youth. I will share with the presentations slide now. Okay, if you can see, can you see me the slide?
No.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Great.
All right, Vicky.
But there is no writing, huh?
Right. There's no writing. We can see now the writing has come.
Okay, now this is the topic that I want to discuss, recognizing what are the challenges and expanding new horizon or new idea for young people. So this is not related to, everyone have the challenges, especially we are adults. And our focus now, what are the young group are doing. And if you look into the place that I'm working, if you see on your left side is Malaysia, and I'm working on the other side, which is the Borneo side of Malaysia, which we have Kota Kinabalu on your right, on the top. That's the place that I'm working, and this is my Faculty of Psychology and Education, University of Malaysia, Sabah, where I'm working in the Department of Psychology. And these are some photographs that I'm showing is what are the research, what are the intervention, because my focus of my research are more on youth development and also for the community development related to their positive psychology or related to their mental health. So these are some project work which I'm working with now, especially on the intervention. And my focus of my research also looking on the youth at risk. Those are youth at risk, example like taking alcohol, drugs, smoking behavior, sexual behavior, and a lot of misconduct behavior. That also my focus, and I have designed it a lot of modules for that. Even I got a lot of international and Malaysian grant, and I also working with Japan currently for some research grant, and of course with India, and especially from Kerala and so on. Okay, now when we talk about COVID-19, and I think if you look in India, every day the cases are increasing, but lucky in Malaysia we are a bit safe, because today date 18th of July, only 9 cases, but if you compare with India, about 25,000. And if you look into the nationwide, about 180 countries been affected, and you can see about 1.7 billion of people been affected, severe illness. And you see people are getting and like if you can see another this is the case in India. See, people are about that until this is the case from 15th of February, started on 15th, because India started a bit late the COVID compared to Malaysia. Malaysia we started to MCO, Malaysia movement control, by 18th of March, but India a bit earlier, 15th of February, until to date. You can see how many thousands and thousands of people have been affected, and the death is about 26,000 until on the 17th of July, and the recovered is about 600,000 people have been recovered. And if you see the statistics, India recovery percentage is about 60. So this is I want to talk this because but if you look into compared to Malaysia, we have about 320 death cases until today date, 300. But if you compare to India, about 26,000. And if you see, many research have been done, and I think a lot of good journals like Asian Psychology journals, Asian Pacific Journal, a lot of people from India have been writing in Q1, Q2, Q3 journals. I can see that because I have also cited some of the paper from India. That means people have been doing a lot of research, and that's what we are doing, what we want to discuss today. And according to the UN plan to address COVID-19, and young people most of them been affected, some of them been affected by pandemic, social economic aspects, impact, and also issues. This is given by UN, United Nations plan to address COVID-19. We are always talking about adults, and those are elderly group, which is 16 and above. But many people will forget about people who are young group. So that's why UN emphasize that this young group also important. Why these people been related to mental health? Okay, now, and a lot of definitions are given. And if it's in COVID time, the more research is been discussing on mental health. Of course, like introduction is given, what is mental health, Mental health is about happiness. Mental health is about job. It's a satisfaction. Mental health is related to your equal with your physical. So I repeat again, like what Dr. Payal have said, WHO have given definition. Like when I want to say very easy way, mental health is related to on your psychological effect, especially on your stress, emotions, depression, and also people intend for suicidal. So when I said about mental health, I'm looking on the more superior in related to my what I think, what I emotionally affected, and how could my behavior. So when I said emotional thinking and and your behavior, that's what CBT will help. That's what Dr. Malika will speak later. So now, so a lot of people been affected, especially on the ensuring youth, especially on the solution of healthier, safer, and also to be genderly equal in the world. Even many people have been talking on the mental health, and a lot of research have been talking, but we still need to consider these people. Why young generation is important? Because they have been working as frontliners. They also working as health workers. They also as researchers. They also as activists, and they also innovators and communicators. That's why young people are important. That's why we need to consider about this group of people, because they also are making decisions to ensure young voices are part of the solution for healthier, safer, and gender equal world. Okay, now next slide. When you look into COVID-19 pandemic, people are demonstrating they continue leadership in their communities and countries, and we need them, young people. Okay, now the next questions, very critical. It's what are the challenge? Now I already explained cases in India, or even worldwide, people have been affected. So, and I said young generations is important. Young generations are affected. Young group. What do you mean young group? Young group here I define those are from 15 to 25. That means these are the young group of people. I'm not talking for the children group. I'm talking on the people who are average age from 15 to 25. These people also very important. So when I say about young group, this is I'm not mentioning about young children. I'm mentioning on this adult and the adolescence age, which is they are in a group of people who might have a lot of challenges. Okay, now while I'm talking, I have a questions to you all. What are the challenges that we are facing, especially on this COVID-19 period of time? I mean, always mental health we assess 2 weeks ago what happened, but in this case, I want to ask you, what are the challenges that you face related to your mental health, the period of March up to this July? Maybe you can write in chat group. Maybe I can read later. I give you 2-3 seconds to write what are the challenges that you faced. Everybody can write one challenges.
Professor, students are writing on the YouTube live stream, so I'm reading them out for you. It's academic stress, anxiety.
Okay. These are the young group. I mean, those are 15 to 25. Okay, they have academic stress. Then
yes, academic stress, depression. It's loneliness out there.
Okay.
And
what are the challenges?
Depression, loneliness. Till now we have had depression there, loneliness, and anxiety, uncertainty, stress. These are a few challenges, psychological tension. A few challenges that people are saying.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Payal. Let me continue with my discussion. Later, I will come back to the questions and answer session. Okay, now, so I've been talking on this COVID-19 period of time, especially this time, a lot of people been affected by mentally. And of course, when I say mental, I'm talking on 3 elements, which is number 1, about their thinking process. how the cognitive level, what they think. Number 2, I will be discussing on the emotional. That means they could be sad, they could be happy, they could be affected with anxiety. That's what the level number 2, which is I'm talking on the emotional. And the last stage, what we look into that behavior. So when I said about mental illness or mental health, I'm defining on these 3 main elements, which is mind, thinking. Number 2, emotional, happy, sad, anxiety, all that goes to the second level. And the last one, how do you behave on that behavior level? Okay, that. Now, when I talk about the challenges, number 1, the first one, I discuss on social distancing. Why people, and there have been a lot of research and paper been published about social distancing. Why social distancing become an issue? Why it related on your mind, your emotional and your behavior, especially on the young group. And of course, some of you have given challenges of stress, psychological effect, depression, all the right answer. But it could related to one incident, which we call social distancing, because last time students can go and meet their friend, they can meet their team friends, they can talk to anybody, they go into the class every day, they can meet their friends, they talk, chit chat and everything. But now everybody has to stay home, and that definitions have big issues for the young generation, because why? They cannot meet as normal situation. And you see, social distancing also related to slow down and spread of COVID. Because of that, everybody have to stay home. But many face big letdown as graduation, sport season, college visit, and other long planned event or cancel or postpone. So people cannot meet as what they do before. So the young group, which is like 15 to 25, what they do, they cannot go out. When they don't go out, they have some anxiety. So what happens with then some anxiety? They will develop some depression. So after the depression, they might also have more longer period of loneliness, and of course some of them related to the suicide. And this is happening to all the college students, because they are very vulnerable, and some of them are stranded in the college. Like in Malaysia, some students, they not allowed to go to their home because of from 18th of March, all classes, all the university students has to stay in the hostel, whereby they cannot go out. And some of them went back home, they cannot come back to the college. So these situations, social distancing have caused mentally distress to many people. So, and that research been proven by Q 2020 by his research, so showing those have social distancing more affected female, and these people are more vulnerable to stress. This is not Balin saying, but the research have been proven, and I can show you the literature later. So social distancing become a main challenge now for young group, because of that they feel anxiety. And if you see a lot of interviews and a lot of people, you ask them, what happened to your social distancing? You are with your family. But most of them complain and dishappy because of the social distancing, number 1. Number 2, and a lot of research also been proven that when you are at home, when you don't have unscheduled time, because you are at all the time at home, tendency to involve with risky behavior is very, very high. It's been also proven, because this risky behavior is what? Number 1, taking alcohol. A lot of cases in India, people has to, hello? People has to, when the alcohol shop close down, they bang the shop, they try to do a lot of violence at the shop. I can see from the news in a TV from India channels. So this young group also tendency are involving with risky behavior. Number 1, smoking, alcohol. Some of them involved with pornography movies, watching movies which is not relevant to them, and some of them are involved with sexual behavior. And these are tendency to be increased when you are in COVID. And this is also related to their mental health, because why? when you are not happy, you always feel lonely, you intend to do some other activity will give you happiness. And that's why this young group are very vulnerable. This young group must be monitored because they've been affected by this COVID-19 and their mental health been affected and tendency to involve with risky behavior is high. Okay, the next challenge, using social media and also spread the accurate information. And you see, Ashim Okpantin from Benin has given two diseases currently. He said two diseases. Disease number one is COVID-19 and the second one is a fake news. And every day, even like 25,000 people dead. What happened to you? You feel so anxiety. Today, too many thousands people are dying. You feel anxiety. There is no vaccine for this COVID-19. You feel anxiety, and people believe and trust this information. So, informations and media socials become a challenge now, especially on young group. Because why? All the time, 24 hours with the media, and they think all the information is the right information, and that information become a mental issues to many people, and people get anxiety, people get depressed because of the information. If you don't ever listen to anybody, you never listen to the news, you won't feel anything, you will feel normal. But when you listen to some information which is not right information, the source is not good, the social media is trying to promote their whatever information, and people are affected. For this group are young generation, and I so much pity them, because when I interview most of these cases in Malaysia, and most of the students are complaining because I got this information, I am reacting this way because I got information. So information has become a key issues on this COVID-19, and social media are taking advantage on this, because why? They can spread a lot of information, and they want to get some kind of popularities on this period of time. And the next one, speaking out of effective and equitable care. This is more related to the young generation. Do we have resources? And we are demanding for greater investment in health. And you see, this COVID-19 has given us a lot of impact, especially on the positive side. Because why? People, the government, the schools, everybody are talking about health. Everybody talking about safety. People are talking about washing your hands, clean your body, take bath every time, social distancing, wear your mask. So people have demand, and people give an importance to the health. But what are the challenge now? Do we really have the equitable? Do we have right and proper instrument, proper resources to help this group of people? Now, Sujata Selvaraj from UK, National Health Services emphasizes the need of personal protective social distancing, risky time, and using social media, which I have given, spreading for effective and equitable care. Do we have limited resources and demanding greater investment in health? The pandemic reveals the existing inequalities of society. Because why? People are only very given importance on health when you have a problem. Before that, nobody talking about health. Nobody care about resources. Nobody care about my safety. But now, when you have a problem, people are start talking. So, Sujata Selvaraj have said, why people are behaving like that? Why there is no proper treatment before, there is no proper testing before, why there is no proper resources before, why only now? So this is also a big challenge for young group. What are the resources that I used? Can I demand for greater investment in my health? The next one, championing mental health. I use the word of championing mental health because why? People are talking, everyone talking about pandemic, safeguard mental health. In Poland, physicians and psychiatric resident Anna is bringing attention to how social isolation puts additional stress in individuals, especially those who are homeless, have no internet connectivity, and lack support from their family. And another main issue, it's about mental health, is one I said about social isolation, social distancing. Second, I talk about media, information. And the next one, it's about internet. Because why? Internet become an issue on this COVID-19. Before this, all face-to-face, no problem. Internet is not an issue. But when COVID-19, a lot of people got stressed because of internet, because of the technology. People start to get anxiety because my place, your place don't get internet. Even in Sabah, in my place in Sabah, one of the a lot of cases have been percentage of saying 36% of students are never cannot get access to internet. So what happened? We cannot do classes online with them. So they start to complain, and the university have to consider back, and they have to return back to the college or the university. So internet become an issue, and it's become also how I can be a champion on my mental health, especially on my thinking, how to be more positive, how to could I handle my stress, how could I handle my social distancing, how could I handle information that I gathered, how much information is right information. So these all it's about championing mental health. Do this happen to the young generation, young group of people who are very fragile, are very easily to accept everything. They don't know which is right, which is wrong. So do the child championing their mental wellness. And the next one, do we innovating to improve access to the life-saving testing? This is Helena Ligaj have developed and implement a true drive testing center in New Orleans, Louisiana. Every weekdays after afternoon and while supply lasts, the facility provide free COVID testing to individual riding up in cars and bicycles. So there are many people now. Even I see innovations being done by in India. There are many medicines and vaccines have been developed, especially to help those from the India people. And see, these are the innovating resources that we do to improve our lifestyle testing. And it's also become a challenge. And we also need to have a new horizon. How do I help people with new innovation? And the next one, the very crucial is research and developing technology. This is also critical aspect because of coronavirus, and there are many people have been doing research, well-being. I'm talking about the communication. I'm talking about spiritual value. There are fear on COVID, and then I see a lot of papers all being published in Asia Pacific of Journal related to how fear of people with COVID-19 in India. 840 samples, 1,160 samples been taken. That is also, so how much that we are conducting research and developing technology. And the next one, how we harnessing the strength of communication. In Gambia, head of the communication of the Medical Research Council unit for the only COVID-19 testing center, she created posters and video. How much that you using, how much you deliver the information in a right way. This is in Gambian language. Solidarity will be provide an opportunity for sharing the correct information, and this can help to minimize potential of panic. And when you related to panic, it's of course related to your mental health. So how to harness your strength of your communications. The next one, delivering food and sanitization. This is also become a challenge because a lot of people, even like India, people are saying why the case are spread so fast, because they say there is a lot of people don't get information. The people are staying in the village, not easy to access them. They have to come out to do their whatever daily life income. They have to work. So these have become. Must be some innovation how to deliver food, sanitization, and this is very important because there have been research been done by Muhammad Firdaus in Bangladesh, Krishna Maheshwari, which is done in Pakistan. How do they deliver the food for those are needs? This is very important. This period of time, a lot of challenges that we are having because there are many poor there out there needs our help, and they really mentally they've been disturbed because the daily income is not there. How to survive? Like what Maslow have said, the daily, the food is not there. How they can look for the safety?
the next level they cannot reach. So we cannot blame them. They have to go out. They say they need to get some money to earn or to feed their children. So the basic needs is not being fulfilled. Definitely the next stage about safety is not there. So we also must look what are the innovations, what are the process that we can do for delivery and sanitization. And the next one, how we engage elected officials and lawmakers. This is also another issue, challenges for now. Because why? These lawmakers are very important now. Because why? Number one, money. When this COVID-19, a lot of money is coming, a lot of donation is there. But that donations and money reach in the right place, right person, there must be a law to monitor. And the next one, also helping implement a protocol to address safety of girls and women during the emergency. Because some girls and ladies, they need some COVID, this period of time, they really need mentally being disturbed. And there are some cases, there in emergency case, we need some help. So how do the lawmakers, what are the governments are doing to help these people? This is also a big challenge now. What are the law? What are the system? What are the policies to help them out? And I believe every state, every country now have been practicing a safety for everyone, especially for the young girls and women, especially during the emergency. And the next one, engaging the most vulnerable are not left behind. This is very important because why there are people and really need help. And what we are young group of we are doing humanitarian setting, particularly group are displaced and or living in camp or experience the direct effect of COVID-19. Those are handicapped, those are vulnerable. We need to help them. Okay, now, so I have given all of the challenges, all of the issues have been, especially on this mental health, especially on this new era of COVID-19, because this period of February up to maybe it could be until September, it could be until October, we don't know, because cases are increasing every day in India. Even Malaysia, we are now a bit okay now. What we can do changes, especially the young group. Number one, only trust and on the reputable sources of information on the outbreak. This is very important. Out there, people are listening to me. Information is everything. So you only look for the right source of information. Which media can give you a right information? And you don't listen to every information. You only can listen to the news which is appropriate news. Maybe in the evening, it's enough. Rather than you start to read, because when you start to read all the information, it might give you some panics, it might give you some anxiety, and it definitely will affect your mental health, especially on your happiness. And the next one, stay connected with friends and family members. I think this is everyone are doing it, especially on the COVID-19. Even we cannot do face-to-face, but we still can connect to our friends, talk to them, discuss with them by media, like emails, phone calls, or WhatsApp, or whatever method that you can easily access. Because if you don't have the internet, maybe you can do some kind of innovations on how you want to connect with your friends or your family members. And this is what I have done. Social help has appeared to diminish pressure and disencouragement. And the next one, try to anticipate distress. Individuals have been encouraged to stay away from any propensity like smoking and drinking. This is my advice also. Especially, I have done a research also. I said when this COVID-19, a lot of people been affected, especially on the mental stress, and how to anticipate, how to reduce your anxiety, how to reduce your stress. There are a lot of activities being done, a lot of activities given in YouTube, like yoga, meditations, and all that, spiritual values, So you also can do that. Comprehend your meaning of life. This is what I said, spiritual and meaning of life. This is not religion, but the value that you carry out. Because a lot of cases, when you're anxiety, when you are depressed, you are mentally distressed, a lot of the spiritual value can give you a positivity. That means when I sad, when I distressed, when I got anxiety, but my spiritual value will overcome that. That means I have more positive value. That positive value you have to develop. And the positive also values also are related to your personality. And this is all you can develop. And this right time for you, because COVID-19, you have more time for yourself. So you can do a lot of meditation, you can read good books, you can read new good resources, you can learn something new, new language, new arts, new skills. And I think a lot of people have been talking on this. So make your life a meaningful life. Make your life to be understand what exactly you want. And this period of time is a very precious, because you can understand about yourself, and that also related to your spirituality. An individual may get opportunity to figure out how to acknowledge things they were ignored prior to this, and conceivably finding another harmony between their work, family, and individual life. Okay, now the last one, how to look forward, what I can do. Now, I advise to the young group, not only those who have been academic life, so for a young group, think about number one, what are the research that you can do, number one. What are the research can contribute to your society? What are the research that can give impact on your society? Number two, what are the innovation that you can develop? I think I have read in the internet, there are many people from India have been doing a lot of innovation. I encourage more young group, especially those from the psychological department or microbiologists, the VC, the vice chancellor from the microbiologists. These are the people that really we need in the country to help, to think. This is the right time for you to think, to come up with the right research. And that research could help people from those in a rural area, those are people or students in your campus. What are the technology, what are the innovation that I can do to ease or make easy, to give more pleasure, happiness to these other people of that. Number one, do research, create more innovation. And the next one, relate your social and emotional well-being, particularly on the stress and uneasiness, with the assistance of socially emotional supportive people will get many benefit. Those are mentally ill. This is also, you must make sure there are people are mentally ill, how much that you can help, like process of counseling, the teachers at home, parents at home, they have been listening to me. Maybe what I as a parent I can do to help my mental health to be more positive. What are the activities that I can monitor for my children? School in the class, school teachers, what are the activities that you can give? Even there are many classes online, internet, and that internet online classes could be mentally stress for students, because they have to be online, they have to learn a lot of classes by online, they cannot ask questions, they don't know what they are listening. So this is also could be a problem to the child or to the young group. So the way that we want to look forward in maybe another 1 or 2 months, what I want, what is my suggestion, what is my opinion is, think what are the research that you can do, and what are the innovation that you can implement. How could you help the well-being of people, especially on this positive psychology? With that, thank you very much. And I open to Dr. I go back to the Dr. Payal. Hello.
Thank you so much, Professor Balan. It was indeed very informative session, and I could see so many comments on YouTube live stream that it was very informative and it really helped people. I would now request Professor Umaid Singh to please moderate the session and conclude this. Then we'll be taking the question answers round,
okay,
sir.
Doctor, sir, I want to share the research paper which have been published. Can I show that before I open to the questions and answer? Yes, this paper been published in Malaysian. It's been published in. I just share with you this research paper because some people maybe get some benefits.
So we are not able to see.
Okay, wait. Just give me a second. Just give me a second.
Yes.
Just give me a second. Sorry. Maybe while I'm showing, maybe we can open for the questions and answer. While I'm opening the file, maybe I can still answer the questions if there is anything which I hope whatever that my message reach to people who are really need.
Yes, sir. Umed, sir.
Should I moderate or firstly question answer session should be completed?
Okay. First question answer should be completed. Fine. Let me take a few questions that were there. Shall I, Professor Balan?
Yeah. Please continue. I will keep doing it my paper while I'm answering the questions.
Perfect. So the first question that we have is like people are having disturbances in sleep cycles. Their sleep cycles are disturbed. So they're asking how can we sort out the issues that are related to sleep cycles?
Okay, now when sleep the insomnia, maybe some people we call this is insomnia because they cannot sleep. Okay, now insomnia, it's not that you cannot sleep the overnight, because sleep, it's only we call insomnia when you cannot sleep from the period of time from 12 until midnight of 2 or 3. You already sleep 8 or 9 o'clock in the night, but you wake up in the middle. That what we call you have some stress and anxiety. So these people, those are having issues of sleep disturbance or sleep because they are not they wake up in the night because they have been thinking some issue. This is related on your anxiety, number one, and it's also related to your stress. And if you have this, you try for another 2 more weeks. If no, you have to go for some intervention. Number one intervention, you have to look for some counselors to discuss, or psychiatrists to discuss on your sleep pattern. If it's continue for 2 weeks. But if other way, if you don't want to see counselors, you cannot see the psychiatric, the basic method that I can teach you when you have sleep disturbance, number one, please listen and please write. Number one, you always, you remember you have to do some exercise in the morning or in the evening or before, it's the best is in the morning. So you make your body to be tired. When your body is tired, you won't, because the exercise will give you a lot of energy in your mind, in your emotions and your behavior. So when you exercise, the best medicine for this sleep pattern. If you don't have a very highly anxiety, but if you have a high anxiety and you cannot control the anxiety, it definitely will disturb your mind. When you disturb your mind, definitely you cannot sleep. So in order for you to do, you can change your, to become better sleep pattern, number one, do exercise, physical exercise. Number two, listen to more good songs, affirmations, positive words before you sleep, or you read some books before you sleep. These are the method which is very normal, general method which psychologists can do, even everybody can do, because that will help for your sleep pattern. Or before you sleep, you can take some hot drink. It could be milk, something hot before you sleep, and it will increase your energy to sleep better in the night. Doctor, do I answer the questions?
I hope the question was clearly answered, and I hope the participant is benefited by the answer.
So this sleep pattern, I want to ask back, she or he, how long has been having this problem? I mean, about more than 2 weeks?
The participant who has had this question, I request you, you might type your duration. How long have you been experiencing these disturbances? So by the time she answers or he answers, let us take another question. Students are facing a lot of anxiety issues regarding academic stress, and this stress is worsening the situation. So how can we be able to balance this anxiety? One thing. Related to this, another student has asked, this time the final year students, they are still not done with their examinations. So they are saying, how can we sort our issues regarding anxiety about career? Not
Okay,
only
now.
it's anxiety about career also that is being related.
Okay, now, if we are talking anxiety for academic, now a lot of universities in Malaysia, we change from the exam oriented to continuous assessment. That means we exchange with the exam to a assignment, which is more beneficial for the students and the supervisor or the teacher, rather than when you're doing online exam and all that. It might difficult for them because they still need to do the exam, and the classes was not there in a proper time. The teaching was not really done. Of course we're doing online, but students still feel, oh, when I have face to face I can ask any problem. So that anxiety gives them a lot of stress. That anxiety also gives them a lot of depression and loneliness. So what I best suggest to this group of people, number one, the you have to talk to the university. If the university agree, a lot of in Malaysia, many universities in Malaysia, public university in Malaysia, we change from exam oriented to a continuous assessment. That means we replace exam, midterm and final, to continuous assessment. We replace with assignment. Assignment number one, assignment number two, but the content of exam still we replace in assignment. That means we are not never let go that the exam, the gist of the exam, the content of the subject, but we replace in a mode, because this COVID-19 mode, we change to more easier way, and that mode will decrease a lot of anxiety among students. This is also I'm suggest to the universities, because students definitely, many students will be having problem, especially when there is exam. And students have difficulties because some internet, they cannot get the right sources, right information. Even they have any queries, they cannot meet their facilitators or the supervisors. So that is also best option for the universities and also for the student. Okay, let's say the exam is still on. Still there is a exam paper which I have cannot go let go. The university have decided. So now you have to plan your schedule, because teaching in the campus, learning in the campus are not same like you are learning at home. Because at home you have to cook, you have to wash, you have to go do this, a lot of noise, you don't have a place, you don't have a room, you don't have a chair to sit, you don't have a light, you have all these are issues. There are many students have been complaining on this in Malaysia also. So I suggest to this group of people, number one, you have to structure your timetable. Put from the morning up to night what you can do, what you cannot do, how you want to tackle your exams, what are the orientations that you can do. So your timetable, structured timetable, will monitor your work, and that will reduce your stress. If you never do your structured work, never do your timetable, what I can do in the morning, what I can do in the afternoon, what I can do on the evening. So if you don't have the right timetable, you definitely have panic, anxiety, stress, depression. So timetable will help you to become more structured. And if you have some issues on the exam, please don't hesitate to contact your superior, especially your lecturer, who or your friends, peers, who can help you out. Then discuss with them the problem. Dr. Payal, any other?
Yes, there's one more question. In fact, many students have, maybe the students or others, have been asking the same question. Like there is so much of negativity that is hauling over the minds of all the students and others as well. It's like how to overcome the negativity regarding future or academics, that is the hopelessness from future, how to deal with it.
Okay,
They're having all thoughts from future. So
because
that
they're
is,
thinking about the future. They're thinking about the future.
yes, sir.
The students are thinking about the future.
Yes, they are thinking about the future and it's all negative thoughts that are coming to their minds. So it's how to deal with those negative thoughts and how do we like keep patient even in those stressful situations.
Okay, now this is a very crucial and very good questions, because your COVID is not forever. Please remember, all my beloved students out there, my brothers and sisters, and don't ever think COVID will be there forever. Number one. And you see a lot of countries economically down because there is no job opportunities, the universities been closed down, a lot of shops been closed down, a lot of organizations been closed down, a lot of industries been closed down. It's there, but remember, it all will be recovered. That concept you must have in your mind. That means the opportunity is still there. You prepare yourself now. Don't worry about what will happen in the future. Of course, it's easy to say, but you are the students. You think, what will happen to my career after another 3 years? My graduation has been cancelled. My graduation has been postponed. I cannot complete. All these will be. I think I personally believe it's all for temporary. If you believe that it's a temporary, you will have not much panic. You are mentally you become more positive. So to change this negativity, it's all depend on your mind. It all goes to your mind. That's why mental health related to your mind. How much you can think more positive way. And there are many ways to change to positivity. The one method, the best method is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Because your mind are always thinking negative. I cannot work, I do worried, I worry anxiety because I future gone, COVID will be there forever, a lot of people have been died. That mindset will be changed if you think that this is all temporary and I can produce better work on this period of this time. Change all your negativity to your positivity. This positivity is how you think in your mind and you practice it. Then that gradually you will understand all my negativity will go. So maybe you can do diary. That's what you will be. Dr. Malika will teach you how the CBT works. That is a part of intervention in CBT. And you can do the daily diary. What my positive thought, what is my negative thought in another column. And every day you see what is your negativity. Is it more higher than your positivity? Then the next day you write another your diary. What is my positive side column and negative side? Write every day you write for at least for 2 to 3 weeks. And definitely your mind will become changed from this negativity to positive. When you see a lot of negativity in your column, try to change to positive. That means when I say, oh, my work, my career will gone, change to that to positive. Oh, definitely I can get it. I definitely can progress. I can definitely can do something better. So that positivity change of your from your negative to your positive will give more reactions on your emotions. When your mind is already positive, your emotions become more stable. You won't be a lot of anxiety. You won't be have so much of stress. You won't have so much of sadness. You won't have so much of panic. And that change in your emotions will give you a more positive in your behavior. See, so mind, emotions and behavior are interrelated. So if you align your mind, if your mind already in a positive mode, you can change your emotions. You won't have anxiety, because when you say anxiety, you feel sad, your mind says don't be sad. If you have anxiety, your mind says don't be anxiety. If you're always negative, your mind says don't be negative. So it's all in your mind. That's why the thinking and how much you digest your thinking, how much you analyzing your mind, how much you are analyzing your thinking will help you to overcome your negativity. And it doesn't work in one night. You need to practice. How long, doctor? It's how much that you put effort. When you change gradually from your negativity, your positivity, gradually you will change, your emotional will change, and gradually you will change your behavior change. So it all go back to your thinking process. Okay, Dr. Payal?
Right, Professor. Thank you so much for answering this as well. Now we'll take one last question.
Before that, I want to share the paper. I want to share the paper.
Yes, you can. Please.
Okay. I want to share the paper which I've been published. And maybe some of you can get some benefits. Wait, just give me a second. It's in a Google Scholar already.
What is the title?
Just give me 1 second. Okay, this is the paper which is in I published in a Malaysian Psychiatric of Journal, which is in a Google Scholar. So when you see, this is the paper which I published. This is a brief communication, mental health issue during COVID-19 pandemic, treatment and how to overcome. So if you can see, my name is there. This is under MJP. MJP is Malaysian Journal of Psychiatric online, which is I published on the. This one will be on the book on 1st of August, but it's already in the internet. You can check. So I given you what is the case of COVID-19. I'll give you the introduction. What are the mental health treatment for COVID-19 in Malaysia? What are the services being given? And I also, whatever that I discussed just now, anticipate distress, connected with friends, it's all from the literature which I given. And this is all I took from this paper. So it is there. So some of the students who are writing a research paper or journal, you can quote some of my idea from this paper. Then maybe we can discuss more. You can email me. Then we can discuss more on these issues of COVID-19. Maybe we can do comparisons between India and Malaysia, and we can try to start how treatment, how to overcome, and how we implement in India and how we do it in Malaysia. With that, thank you very much, Dr. Payal. The last questions.
Yes, thank you so much. The last question, I believe it is from a counselor's table. So she's asking someone who's stuck in a domestically violent family cannot take much help from relatives, police, or NGOs. In such cases, how can we assure them to survive in this time?
Okay, now these type of cases, definitely it's a bit crucial, and that's why the lawmakers I already given, that's also a big challenge, because there is a violence among those who have been domestic violence among these girls or boys at home and all that. Okay, number one, as a counselor, if you have already identified this type of this is very vulnerable group, if you already know these are people who have tendency, you might help with some NGOs. Report the cases if you can find out these are the people are very vulnerable, and you know very sure these are people and really need help. You can have some police reports or some NGOs and all that to help them out from that family. That's one the best thing that I can think. And the law must protect them. That's why I said one of the main challenge now, there are people are very vulnerable, and these people sometimes they are miss out, like this domestic violence, because they've been staying at home. So the chances for domestic violence more higher. But we can do some help if you can identify this type of group of people, and we do some. There are so many NGOs. Even I believe in India there are many NGOs and helping society who can provide help this type of people. To help them out to come out, or maybe they are emotionally stressed, we try to give them some counsel and to make sure they are safe. That's part of our counselor. That's why you need to do some kind of innovation, how to track them, how to get them, how we can give a right in sources, which sources that can help. That information might help them, this group or vulnerable or those are affected by domestic violence. Dr. Payal, I think
yes,
that's all.
Thank you so much, Professor Balan. May I request you to keep the front video on so that we can see you. And Professor Umed Singh, if you could please moderate the session, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
am I audible?
Yes,
Dr.
sir, clearly.
Sorry, because I take so long time, Dr. Payal.
No issues, sir. It was fruitful indeed. May we have you on the screen, please?
Okay. You want to see my handsome face?
Yes, Professor.
First of all, I am grateful to Dr. Balan, who has relevantly summarized all the issues, all the challenges pertaining to this COVID. He mentioned that the challenges can be understood at three levels: cognitive level, affective level, and behavioral level, very rightly. And he has summarized the issues like social distancing, risky behavior, social media misuse. Yes, Yes, social media has also contributed a lot in creating the panic, and researchers have categorically revealed, and WHO has categorically mentioned that there are some ethical standards for media, and it has been found in researches that if media flares up the negative activities, negative events more, so it will result into the contagion effect. Contagion effect means if the negative events are repeatedly presented, so they will contaminate the young minds, and that will result into more severity of that problem. Similarly, researchers have also revealed that if the media flares up the positive events, positive activities, so it will result into another kind of impact that is known as wither effect. So we, the students of psychology, or we all of us are students of psychology. We are also talking negativities of this pandemic, COVID-19. Nobody is trying to speak on positivities of this COVID. So that question by a candidate was कि how to overcome the negativities. So the first measure to overcome the negativity is to request the media not to flare up the negativities of this COVID, and they must. There are also positive aspects. Positive aspects, domestic violence, for example, people are flaring up that it has increased, but there are also cases. We India is a affiliative society, and this COVID-19 has increased the affiliative motives in some cases. It has led to the family unifications as well, and social this domestic violence, to me, if it has increased in low socio-economic status. Violence sometimes may be the product of frustration. The laborers, uh, they have been deprived of their daily earnings, and so naturally that frustration will be expressed on their spouse and all that. But there are so many cases where family unification has come up anyway, and so we must be very particular. We must request the social media or these electronic medias not to flare up the negativities of this COVID-19. And uh, Dr. Balan has mentioned uh, very rightfully that this COVID has opened the eyes of governments to make the investment in the area of health or health sector. Our governments, particularly Indian government, whosoever soever may be in power, but health and education, these have never been priorities for them. And this COVID has categorically told the governments that this is the most important area to invest. And uh, not so much. Dr. Balan has summed up, he has mentioned so many things, but I would like to mention that this for medical management, the medical vaccine that is yet to come. But I would like to request all the listeners, all the students, that we should use the behavioral vaccines. As Dr. Palan has mentioned, okay, we must develop habits for good dietary habits, which may lead to the boosting of immunity. We must stick to the sanitization. We must stick to the physical distancing. We must use all the preventive measures which have been prescribed by WHO. This I would like to label as behavioral vaccine. Then psychological vaccine, yes, we must develop positive thinking, optimism, competitive and winning spirit, ordinance, resilience, and these cognitive measures we must use. And if a person has developed problem, to then we can consult the counselors like Dr. Malika Sharma for CBT, or hypno counseling can be used, because this pandemic can be conceptualized in terms of a stress disorder. And still we are to observe the post जिसको traumatic stress disorders, these are yet to come. Still, this stress is prevailing. So we are facing the acute stress disorders in the form of suicidality and all that. Anyway, so these can be dealt with by using various uh, counseling techniques or intervention techniques. Then social vaccine, yes, physical distancing, avoidance of unnecessary social gathering. And one positive aspect of this COVID-19 with regard to the social impact is it has reduced extravagance. In marriages, lot of extravagances were there. Now it has reduced to gathering of 50. This is also positive aspect. And I would like to mention this, that though this pandemic is very furious, but not powerful than the willpower of human beings. And let us boost our willpower and immunity to curb and combat this COVID-19. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for concluding it so nicely. Thank you, Professor Balance, for your valuable time. Thank you for contributing your research expertise here. We are really grateful to you for connecting with us. Do we have Dr. Ravi here? Okay, maybe some connection issues. These technical issues, they have cropped up like anything. So here, okay, if Dr. Ravi is not there, luckily this opportunity has come to me. I am privileged to introduce Dr. Malika here on this platform. Our next speaker. So Dr. Malika Sharma has qualified as a clinical psychologist in India before moving to England. She has also lived in Australia and Switzerland and is a former member of Australian Psychological Society. She is a fully accredited CBT therapist with British Association of Behavioral and Cognitive Therapies. She carried on with her professional education in England and joined National Health Trust England as a CBT therapist, where she provides CBT to clients with anxiety disorders and depression. Her specialism is in working with clients with long-term health conditions such as multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, cancer, diabetes, etc. Her research interests include efficacy of cultural adaptations of CBT with South Asian clients. She has published research papers based on her research work. She is trained to provide therapy in Hindi, Urdu, and Punjabi other than English. She has an experience of providing training and supervision to professionals, and she delivers workshops and trainings in UK and abroad. And recently delivered a skills class at World Congress of Behavioral and Cognitive Therapies 2019 in Berlin. We are privileged to have you, ma'am, with us. With more than a decade of your experience, we expect a lot from you. So over to you, Dr. Malika. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pal, for inviting me to this wonderful platform. And we will be talking a lot more about mental health. Now, let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
No.
Not visible now.
Is it visible now?
No.
No, no, no.
No, we cannot see the screen. The screen is not yet visible.
It says I cannot share the screen. I don't know why.
अलाउ करना पड़ता है क्या मैम? अलाउ करना पड़ेगा क्या स्क्रीन से?
She can do it herself.
पहले आपकी साइड से तो नहीं है कि अलाउ करो?
नहीं सर,
कई जगह होता है। अच्छा।
हाँ जी, she can present her screen.
Ask Dr. Balan, he has shared his screen.
No, she can. She has been doing it for various workshops and sessions.
Yeah.
So Yeah. No, not the screen yet.
अकेले अकेले पियोगे सर?
डॉक्टर साहब पी रहे हैं, मेरे को देख के याद आ गई.
Now it's sharing, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Is it okay? Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it is visible.
Yes.
Lovely, that's great. So as I said before, we will be talking about our emotional well-being in detail. Of course, Dr. Balan has already touched up on quite a few points from here. What we will be discussing now is why mental health is important to a layman, especially when there is so much going on about the physical health. Why do we need to talk about mental health? We will also talk about what are the signs and symptoms of psychological health issues. One of the key message of cognitive behavior therapy is about creating the clients as their own therapist. So I would prefer that all the audience learn how to recognize their signs and symptoms of psychological issues first before they try to intervene. And then also finally talking about how can I help myself. Dr. Pyle, I think someone's microphone is on and I can hear other people.
डॉक्टर रणवीर सिंह प्लीज माइक्रोफोन को ऑफ कर दीजिए सर.
Okay.
आप
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So one of the common issue we all come across, whichever part of the world we are at, is the stigma towards mental health. And quite often we do not want to talk about mental health, especially as I do belong to Indian culture. It's a very rare thing to talk about. When it comes to physical health issues, we don't care about the confidentiality. We can talk about our physical health in the street or with friends, with anyone, very freely. But when it comes to mental health, we all tend to feel a little bit shy and feel I cannot have this. And this is I'm not just talking about the layman, I'm also talking about the psychologist. This is kind of like a myth that psychologists cannot face the mental health issues. Really, if this is the case, a cardiologist will never get a cardiac arrest or a heart attack, or any oncologist will never develop cancer. So please feel that we are all in the same boat, even though some of the people on this platform are psychologists, but in reality, we are all in the same boat. And I hope this helps other people who are not from psychological background to understand and deal with the stigma that it is okay. Even though you are a male, you belong to a highly educational society, or you are coming from a very strong psychological background, it can happen to anyone and everyone. So please be ready to talk more about your mental health. And this was one of the first point I wanted to cover. Mental health has been more of an issue now during the pandemic. The reason is a global problem, and everyone is talking about it. It's growing everywhere. And quite often people normally think it's just a state of mind, but this is not. The research has proven that mental health affects our physical well-being, our social health, and it can increase your immunity if you are better dealing with mental health. If people are struggling with stress, it can decrease your immunity and you're more likely to catch COVID-19. So that is the reason why we are talking about mental health in this time. Also, there is a great importance of these psychological issues. If they are detected early, you can get some support, you can help yourself, you can get help from other professionals. But the early detection is the key to understand the mental health and help someone better. So now come to the stress. Just like everyone has got blood pressure, everyone has stress. And as I said, whether you are a psychologist or you're a male or you come from a very religious background or you think you are very strong, we are all on this line. And you can see the line here. It's a continuum. Either someone has got low stress or someone has high stress. But we are all on the same line, whether someone is able to manage the stress and someone is not able to manage the stress. But just like everyone has blood pressure, and I hope because we all understand the medical model, that's why I've used the word blood pressure. Everyone has, like they have blood pressure, they have stress. Especially during this time of COVID-19, we are all chasing certainty. We want to be certain about the future. We want to be certain about the present moment. What if I get COVID-19? What if someone else I know might get COVID-19? What if I don't succeed in my career, as things have been picked up in the previous presentation by Dr. Balan, that some people are asking about the future. They are worrying about their career. But there are lots of uncertainties, and we are all trying to catch the certainty. And the uncertainty has increased in lots of various areas. Physically, yes, there is a physical risk of any of us catching the virus. There is emotional risk, as we just mentioned, that the domestic abuse is also been reported more than ever before. But also people are stressed and feeling very sad because they cannot see their loved ones. Socially, yes, things are not happening as the same way. And I suppose this is a great part of Indian society, that society plays a great role in our life. We are very, very social people. And in the lack of that social support, it might be impacting our mental health. Medically, there are lots of uncertainties about who knows what actually COVID-19 is. There is a lack of treatment, lack of vaccines, lack of understanding how it can impact it. As we have seen in last few months, that more and more symptoms are getting attached to COVID-19. Initially, it was about just the fever and the cough, and then slowly they added the diarrhea, the skin rash, and lots of different issues. So there are lots of uncertainties medically, and also the medical health systems are not able to cope with the amount of people getting COVID-19. There are lots of uncertainties about the employment. I have seen in the news that lots of US companies are suddenly stopping their work with India. So lots of offices have been closed just overnight. And who knows, who has the employment today will not have the employment tomorrow. Relationships are also getting affected. Lots of weddings, I suppose, have been postponed. At the same time, as we can see the increase in domestic violence, relationships are also on strain because we are not able to handle our own emotional well-being. There are lots of economic uncertainties all around the world. The economy is going down, and so as financially, we are all struggling. Now looking at what is the amount of uncertainty around us, no wonder why we are trying to catch the certainty. So when this happens, the common response for humans is fight or flight. Either you stand towards it or you try to run away from it. And this is a very evolutionary response of human. It also helps us to get ready to act. Either we fly or we flight. So when we have this fight and flight sort of mechanism is been kicked in by the stress, what happens? First of all, now we want to understand what are the signs, what do I pick up on, how do I understand I'm having stress which is not manageable at this time. We tend to worry a lot more, which is never stopping. It is carrying on, even though you are trying to resolve those worries during the daytime, they are still not letting you sleep. You might feel tiredness in your body. As we were talking about a little earlier, that these psychological issues are impacting our physical health. Tiredness is one of those. We might feel angry. It might interact with our sleep. You might get quite anxious about worrying a lot, and it doesn't allow you to sleep. Maybe feeling worthless. What's the point of life? And quite often I've seen now people are explaining, as I'm a clinician, I get to see clients on a daily basis. People who were maybe discussing other issues, other psychological issues, are now talking about these panic attacks. And more people are calling medical services without knowing that this was a panic attack. We might feel like we are living on the edge. We find it quite difficult to switch off. Whatever we do, worry doesn't stop. We might have poor concentration. We might feel very irritable. And just about waiting, because there is so much uncertainty. We don't know. We might be waiting for the worst outcome. Who knows who will survive out of this COVID-19? And it's probably not true for everyone, but I have to mention this because this is also an increase. It's the uncontrollable drinking. In the UK, this has been gone on for people who were never alcoholic before, but now people are drinking more than usual. And I suppose this is something we don't talk about in Indian society, but yes, drinking is one of the issues. So this is also getting impacted. People use it as a way of relaxing. To be honest, it doesn't help. It might also be creating a lot of hopelessness, and we might feel tearful sometimes, even though we may decide whether to cry or not, but we might feel like we are on the edge to cry. And then it comes to the physical symptoms. So what are the physical symptoms that the stress is increasing? One of the physical symptoms, which is very, very common in any kind of stress, is palpitations. Your heart feels thumping. It's just racing so badly. Muscular tension might build up because, as I said before, it's preparing us to fight or flight. And if in both the conditions we need to use the muscles, if we think about the human evolutionary time when a human was living in jungles, and there would be a physical threat to our life, we would either fly or fight. In both the conditions, we learned to use our muscles. And that's why this muscle tension happens now, even though there might not be an immediate threat, but this muscular tension is part of that anxiety. We might feel dizzy. We might have dry mouth, nausea. You might feel like vomiting or actually doing vomiting, numbness in your limbs, specifically in your legs, breathlessness, finding it difficult to breathe, and also chest pains are very, very common. Shaking, your hands might start trembling or your feet might start trembling, tingling sensations, hot and cold flushes, unreal feelings as if I'm just watching a dream, it's not coming true. Or sometimes, which is rare but not completely impossible, to have a vision change. And also urge to go to the toilet more than often. You might feel like during the night you are going more often than usual. And feeling overwhelmed. We all want it to just stop. This is so much to deal with. We want it to all to stop and give us a breathing space, and we might all feel overwhelmed. So now, as we have understood the signs and the symptoms of the stress which is increasing, I would like to take you to the next journey of creating yourself as a therapist. This vicious circle is, I've named it as for avoidance, but this is the core of CBT model. When we all feel low, anxious, or down, it directly impacts our body, which is showing low energy. We might feel fatigued, and it might decrease our interest. It also creates a lot of hopelessness. It might create a lot of fear, and it might create ineffectiveness. At the same time, what we tend to do is to avoid those situations. Now the lockdown is getting over, but quite a lot of us, you might agree with me, that we are scared to go out. It might increase that anxiety. I would not like to go out because I might catch COVID. And which is fair enough, because there is a physical threat there, we might catch it. But for some, it would not be an option. For people who are not able to live their life in such a way, or work from their work is not allowing them to work from home, they are bound to face this situation. And if that anxiety is constantly kicking in and telling us to avoid those circumstances, it would be very hard on them. Imagine how nurses and the doctors have come through this avoidance. During this time when we were all able to have that lockdown, these brave people have managed to break their avoidance. They have come through and they have come forward to support all of us medically, whether they were they had a very young family, or they had a vulnerable old person in the house, but they have all come forward, breaking this avoidance and helping us. Similar way, we might have to address this issue. What helped them to break this vicious circle? And when it comes to that, to breaking this circle, it almost feels like impossible. Where do you stop it? Can we actually stop feeling anxious? If that's the case, I would wave that magic wand and say, from now onwards, you will never feel anxious again. But feeling is something which is very subjective. It would not stop us. Even though it doesn't matter how much we want to stop feeling anxious or feeling low, we might not be able to stop it just like this. Then we talk about a lot of fatigue and energy, lack of energy, or decreased interest. And that way, if any of us were medical doctors, or maybe we could take some kind of medication which would help us to feel more energetic to face this issue, of course we would do it. But unfortunately, neither I nor any of you are probably a doctor, or would like to be now trained as a doctor, or find something suddenly which would help you to deal with this anxiety. And constantly then also body, alongside the body is the behavior of us, which is keeping this vicious circle going on. And that's why this avoidance we need to be very watchful for. According to the cognitive behavior therapy principles, if we can somehow change the behavior, that would help us to dilute the negative thinking we are having. And also then it will be easy to replace those negative thoughts with the positive thoughts. As Dr. Balan was addressing, that he said that we need to think more positively. To some of you, it might look like, well, if it was that easy, I would do it. But it is not that easy. I fully understand that. And that's where cognitive behavior therapy comes in handy. There were two different schools of psychology, cognitive therapists and behavior therapists. And there has been a lot more debate in the research, which one to go first. Eventually, they both come down and agreed to the fact that behavior comes first. Try to change the behavior is slightly easier than changing human mind. Human mind is much more complicated then changing the behavior. 2 plus 2 is never 4 in psychology. Every person is different. Every person has got different type of challenges. Every person has got different types of resilience, and they all think differently. You might have a different negative thought than mine. So it's one factor which we can all agree with is the behavior. Let's change the behavior. And that might help us to change or at least being able to challenge those negative thoughts. And the final bit then will be to replace those negative thinking with the positive ones. So then we need to understand this avoidance, the flight system in detail. What happens when we are avoiding? You might think, yes, it's okay, I can avoid going out. That's not a problem for me. That's absolutely fine. It comes as a second nature to stress. It's very much natural for all of us to feel I would not like to go out. But it's a short-term issue, a short-term solution. We can only use it for a certain period. As we can see, the government is now changing the guidelines in all the countries. They understood that this is not going to be possible to be in lockdown forever. This is a short-term strategy to avoid going out or avoid doing something. It's not so good in the long run. And eventually, it is lowering down our self-esteem and raising anxieties among people, or raising a lot more uncertainty. That's why we need to look at the avoidance and the flight response. Whereas on the other hand, the flight helps us to build our self-esteem. If we can fight with this pandemic, we would really be able to say a big well done to all of us. And this is not going to be one-man effort. The entire society needs to come together and help themselves. And that way we can help the society to fight from this situation and build our self-esteem. As we were talking before about the uncertainties of the future, think about what would you be when you come out of this situation, how your self-esteem would be. You would be talking to the next generation, look what I did during the COVID-19, even though it was a pandemic and I managed to do this. So certainly our self-esteem would be a lot better than where we have never been able to go. So what do we do? How do we manage then? Now, so far we looked at, okay, there is stress, we are all under stress, maybe a little bit less or maybe a little bit more. We might be feeling anxious, we might be feeling low, we might not like to go and see somebody. And we also learned that we get into this vicious circle of avoidance. Now, I suppose the next question would be, so, okay, Malika, tell me, what do we do now? How can we help ourselves? I really like this analogy of a ship, and this would be a very easy way of explaining how cognitive behavior therapy helps people to develop more resilience. So I would say a few decades before, in a few years, we all probably know about Titanic. And this ship on the left-hand side of the screen is presenting Titanic, who did not have many compartments. And when it hit the iceberg, one compartment got busted, and the weight of the entire ship went round the other way and made the ship sink. And then engineers started thinking, oh, so how do we help this engineering of the ship and make them more stable, when even if they hit the iceberg, the entire ship does not sink. And after a lot of thinking and lots of experiments, now in the modern ships, what you get to see, they have a lot more compartments. The compartments are being divided into lots of small different compartments. And you might be thinking why Malika has suddenly switched on to the technology or the engineering, but this Titanic would represent someone's life when they do not have different or various compartments in their life. Life might just be work and home and home and work and work and home, and that's it. Nothing else is important in their life. Your ship is more likely to sink. And the new ship, which has got lots of different compartments, and I would like to bring everyone's attention to that one. Build to be more resilient. We need to build lots of different compartments in our life. Try to think about what were your hobbies before. Now life might be quite overwhelming for last few years, and you might not have think about it, but were there some things you ever wanted to do, you ever wanted to achieve? Or are you part of any other group, or are you playing an instrument, or maybe you might like to enjoy singing or dancing or some sports, but you were never able to do before. Now you have plenty of time to create loads and loads of these compartments, maybe having a different friend group to work, or some other groups, other social groups, friends you lost in touch with. You can build up all these compartments in your life. So in case something happens, probably at home or at work, suddenly your ship of your life does not sink, because you have other compartments to support you. And that means balancing of the activities. And as Dr. Balan mentioned about having an activity chart, I'm bringing your attention to that, because Dr. Balan mentioned that we need to plan these educational activities or other activities which are important, like work. I would now talk about something which is fun. So yes, there are some necessary activities which we need to do, and I would also emphasize that yes, that's something we need to get done. So please do use your planners. Everyone has got access to mobile phones. You can put a reminder, you can set up a time. At the same time, while we are scheduling all these necessary activities, I would also allow you now, giving you a prescription that you're all allowed to have something which makes you feel happy, to give you the pleasure in life. And alongside, because quite often, whether you are a student or you are a working person, and specifically I would be addressing the females here, whose life, especially as a working woman, because I know myself, the life can be stuck between the necessary and the routine activities. So you are working from home, now the work has come to home, but at the same time, you are still shuffling between the routine, the daily routine of the household, maybe getting off and doing the washing. Before, when we were all in the office, maybe, and you have a little break, you would go for a cup of tea or coffee for yourself, you would relax yourself. It doesn't happen anymore. When you have a break, you go and put some washing. Next break, you know you are going to prepare a lunch. Another break, you are going to help children with the homework. So it really becomes a manic when we are stuck between these necessary and routine activities. So please do take this opportunity. Even though you might find 10 minutes, 15 minutes, these activities do not have to be time consuming. They do not have to be expensive. You might just like to play the music loud and dance in your sitting room. Anything which gives you pleasure. And in that sense, of course, I cannot give you enough ideas. You are the expert of yourself. So I would ask all of you to think about now, what gives you pleasure? And if that thing you have already spotted, please write that down now. And next to it, also write down when will you do it and how will you do it. And of course, I understand there might be a lot of issues now planning these activities. And I'm coming to that in a minute. Start with activities that are attainable to you at this particular moment. Include both the pleasurable as well as achievement activities, something which gives you a pleasure of achievement, maybe building something up, maybe doing some, in England it's very popular, DIY, do it yourself, maybe creating a piece of furniture, anything which gives you a sense of achievement, or maybe even supporting someone else, psychologically or physically supporting a neighbor or someone else, and start by scheduling just 2 to 3 activities at times that you are most likely to complete. So please do not make your goals unachievable. Try to be very realistic and limited. And slowly you can build up your activity level as you go along. Now, during the impact of the lockdown and pandemic, things have been a lot more difficult. You might be thinking, yes, but I used to go to the gym and I can't go now. So there are lots of aspects of our life which are not regular anymore. Things are missing. And that's where we need to be improvising our lives and thinking, okay, I'm missing the gym. But what are those aspects of gym which were very important to me? And what value do they hold? So I would give you an example of one of my clients who was very, very upset because he used to go to the gym very regularly, 4 to 5 days a week, and he was weightlifting a lot. And when I asked him, what is the important part of going to the gym? I would probably suspect it's the exercise, it's the physical exercise he's missing. No. He said, whenever I went to the gym, after the gym, I went out for a drink with my friends, and that is what I'm missing. So ask yourself, what is that value which your activities you were doing probably before the pandemic, you are now missing? What is the value do they hold? And once you understand that value, then you can try to fill it temporarily. Look for those gaps. If I would have gone blindly and just listening to him and he's talking about gym, I would probably suggest, okay, then you start exercising at home or you start running. But no, it is all about the value. What is the value of that particular exercise or that task which is missing in your life now during this pandemic? And how do we replace that value? What can we do differently? So if it is about socializing, then we tried to improvise, and he himself came up with an idea that he can see his friend in the front garden with the 6 meter difference, 6 feet difference, and also he can do social media calling and to stay in touch with people. Of course, it doesn't feel the same. I trust it is not the same as being in the same room, but still he could stay in touch with his friend. So thinking about lots of various ways, how do we now during the time of COVID still manage to do these activities? And now from the behavior, I would get to the cognitive element of the change. As I said before, doing these behavioral activities might help you already. So now come to the cognitive part of the change. And we all worry. Sometimes you might see a grandmother or a mother in the household, and you quite often say to them, please stop worrying. And they would say, what else do I do if I don't worry? So we all know the helpful side of the worry. That's why we all worry. We might think that it provides a solution. We think through it. We gain knowledge. There are lots of pros and cons we can think about, and it helps us to decision making. And that's why all of us do worry. So when does this helpful worry becomes unhelpful? That is the important bit. So think about, when is this worry becoming unhelpful? When you have the symptoms of stress, lack of energy, lack of sleep, tiredness, sinking feeling, you are not able to enjoy anything. You are having all those symptoms of indigestion, headache, and eventually your immune system is impacting. That is unhelpful worry, because it's not leading to any solution. You are constantly worrying and winding yourself up. then it becomes very unhelpful and it needs to be addressed. So I would not advise any of you to stop worrying. Keep worrying. Keep worrying because it's good. It helps us to find a solution for the problem. We might think about lots of various solutions and then pinpoint to the one which is more realistic for us. But if you are experiencing problem with worrying, then and the worry is not leading to a solution and it's keeping you ruminating or thinking about it constantly, then you would think about this is unhelpful and I need to do something about it. So when we worry, we all tend to seek reassurance. You might know somebody, if you are not yourself, people might be getting themselves checked, repeatedly checking with the doctors or seeking more of an reassurance by testing themselves. People are able, in England, these COVID-19 kits have been, you are able to order them at home. People might be checking themselves. They might be constantly checking on the media. What are the symptoms of COVID? Or lots of other things. Maybe if your worries around work-related or the university work-related, you might be repeatedly checking if the situation has changed, constantly watching the news. So what then happens, we then tend to delay the things. We would not, even though a necessary activity needs to be done, we might not feel like, and we think, come on, I'll do it tomorrow. And this postponement does not help. On the other hand, some people take excessive responsibilities. You might worry about all of your extended family members, not just your current family, but everyone else. Or you might take excessive responsibility if you are a healthcare professional or you are working in some sort of admin profession. You tend to do more when you worry a lot. And you try to be certain. But can we really achieve that certainty? That's the question to ask. So how do we go on with this then? When you worry a lot and you find out this is unhelpful worry, then look at what is possible. What can I do? Is everything certain in life? Ask yourself these questions. When was the last time you were 100% certain? Probably never. So we all need to then understand we all have the capacity to deal with this uncertainty, whether we recognize or we don't recognize this. But we all have that capacity. We live in a world which is very, very uncertain. COVID-19 hasn't increased any more uncertainty. It was already there. You were all dealing with it. Last time when you were crossing the road, did you know someone is not going to hit you? And you still managed to cross the road. With all that uncertainty, there were hundreds, thousands of vehicles going in and out of that road, and you still managed to cross the road. You dealt with such uncertainty. So please recognize that strength within yourself. You have the strength to deal with this. So now take a few minutes and think about when was the last time you had a very, very difficult situation? And what did you do about it? What was the outcome of that effort you made? It might not have gone very well, but you must have learned something from it. So ask yourself these questions. How did you cope? Even though things didn't go well, how did you cope with it? And what does this tell me about my own ability to cope with negative outcomes in the future? And that would help you. And here I would give you a little bit of flavor from our own scriptures. जब हनुमान जी सागर के किनारे पे खड़े थे और वो अपनी शक्तियां भूल गए थे, तब जामवंत ने उन्हें उनकी शक्तियां याद दिलाई थी. You may or may not be able to find Jamwant next to you. but you need to be your own Jamwant now and look at your own strength. Where is your strength? It might not be, you might not be able to get a job now, but where is your strength? Is it about studying? Is it about learning a new skill? Or is it about helping someone else? Where is your strength? तो अपनी शक्तियां खुद जानिए और खुद से अपने आप की हेल्प कीजिए, क्योंकि अपनी शक्तियां जाने बिना हमें नहीं पता कि हमारे पास क्या है तो हम उसे यूज कैसे करेंगे. So once you know your own strength, you know how to deal with the situation. And also think about the control, as we are all trying to be so certain. What is in your control actually? The control where you have is a helpful response. You can wash your hands more frequently. You can keep the social distancing. You can limit your unnecessary travel. And last but not least, the self-compassion. You can be your own Jamwant. You can all be saying to yourself, well done for staying healthy so far. Well done for supporting your family so far. Well done for carrying on a job or carrying on studying even during this hard time. Take your time. This is all in your control and you can do this. Whereas at the same time, there are plenty of other things which are not in our control. The presence of uncertainty, other people's action. You might be getting very disturbed by the other people if they are not so careful about COVID-19, and they might be spitting or they might not be keeping the social distancing. You might get quite upset with that. And also the accuracy of the statistics. So I'm pretty sure this is the case in almost any country. I would give you an example of England. When England was showing death of probably 20-something thousand, another statistics came along on a different TV channel, which was showing it's not just 25 or 26,000 deaths. Otherwise, in 3 months, we would have had 10,000 deaths, and this time there are more than 50,000. So, who do we actually believe? We don't know how many people have actually died, or we don't even know how does the virus actually spreads. We don't have any certain answer to that. And when will this end? We might also think about it, but we don't know. But what we can do is to deal with it. You can carry on doing what you are. You can be self-compassion, limit your travel, social distancing. And to be honest, when we think about what is not in my control, think about the other viruses. HIV virus has been there for more than 20, 30 years. It still doesn't have a vaccine. It still doesn't have a cure. And I remember the time, at that time I was in India, and there was a big hoo-ha about this particular virus. People were getting panicked. And after a while, everyone got used to it. It's still around us. It hasn't gone anywhere. But now we are not thinking about it. So have we found anything? No. But our anxiety towards that virus has definitely decreased. And that's the impact. That's why I understand fully, because the politically or in social media, everyone is talking about COVID-19, but there are plenty other viruses around us, and we are still living our lives. So question yourself when you are worrying about COVID. And think about your ways of coping. Focus on what is in your control. Take plenty of breaks if you are working from home or you are studying. Write things down. Use your planners. Everyone has got electronic planners on their phone or computers. If that doesn't work with you, print yourself a calendar or buy yourself a calendar. Stick it on your fridge where you can visibly see it, and you're more likely to do things. Talk to people. Stay connected with other people. Do a positive talk to yourself. Say well done every day at the end of the day. It can be one of your pleasant activities of the day, saying well done to yourself at the end of the day. And maybe if you are religious, why not praying? Having that self-compassion for yourself. and accept this is the world is uncertain. And here I would again bring, if you are religious and you do believe in God, bring that acceptance. It's all his wish. He knows his way. It can become really handy. I know this is anti-CBT I'm talking about, but to be honest, when you talk about the cultural adaptation, this can be one of your strengths. Your religion can be one of your strengths to deal with the difficult situation. So accept it as it is. And religious beliefs help us to accept things as it is. Or use the distraction if you can't accept things. I would like to summarize here with what I have said so far, and I've tried to summarize it in such a way so that you all can remember. Be aware with this 4A principle. Be aware, first of all, that you might be getting stressed. Acknowledge it. Now you all know signs and symptoms of stress, so acknowledge this is stress. This might not be a physical health condition, but this is stress causing the physical health condition. Act on it. We have talked about increasing the activities. We have talked about how to manage our worries. We have talked about the self-compassion. We have talked about how to challenge our negative thoughts. And stick to it. That is the most important part of the exercise, that we stick to those plans. Because quite often we might do them for a little while, and then we might not stick to it. And then you think, oh, Malik, I was talking rubbish because it doesn't work. But you have stopped working on those projects, on that stress management. As long as you carry on working towards your goals of stress management, trust me, you will be better able to cope and you will develop more resilience. So adherence is one of the main part of the exercise. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm ready to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mallika. It was indeed a great pleasure to listen to your lecture.
Dr. Ritu, first introduce yourself because you are first time on the screen.
Yes, sir. I will just come
And
down.
we cannot see you.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just come down to that.
I would like to see the face. I hate talking to the machine.
Okay. Hi. Now you can see me? Okay, just a second, I think. Yeah, now you can see me, I guess.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yes, that's nice to see you now.
Getting better.
Right.
Hi, it was wonderful listening to your entire lecture, and the way you have demystified the entire thing. It was beautifully done, starting from explaining what are the causes and how people can really analyze themselves and come up with solutions. It was indeed wonderful, and it was really a pleasure to have you here. And it is much enjoyed by all the listeners here. I would now request to please post the questions on Facebook, on YouTube Live, and on this platform also. We are ready to take up the questions. I see one question here, which I would like to start with the kind permission of Sir. Should we start?
Yeah. Ask Professor Amit Singh. He is the moderator.
Yes,
Professor Amit Singh.
After this, we'll be moving on.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so
Ritu,
much,
go
sir.
ahead, please. Now.
Yes, sir. The very first question that has come up to us is by Shafu Tanwar. She wants to ask, how can we attain patience even in stressful situations? So, Dr. Mallika, if you could, how can we attain patience even in stressful situation?
Yes, so patience is like resilience, I would say. It would certainly, no one can develop patience. But focusing on here and now, what can you do now without thinking about the future, and doing things which needs to be done, I think that would help you to develop that patience. Because patience is like, developing resilience to worry. And it doesn't come overnight. It takes time. And the more you focus in here and now and think about what you can do now would help you to stay patient, I suppose.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Please, participants, you can now start asking questions if you have any which you want Dr. Malika or even Professor Umaid to answer. Can we have the questions, please? So with your kind permission, Umaid sir, in the absence of questions, can we proceed with the moderation by your kind self?
So
I request our very respected Professor Dr. Umaid sir to please moderate the session.
I think the lecture was so good, deliberation was so good. It does not require any moderation or mediation or any modification anyway, but some addition can be done.
Yes, sir, you can supplement.
It can be supplemented. Yes, she has rightly mentioned that this pandemic and its impact can be understood in terms of the stress model. But the question to myself as well as to Malika is, this pandemic is common for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Why some people are affected negatively by it? Why others are not affected? Why some fighters, they have come up for the rescue of victims, rescue of sufferers, and others have left this world?
Yes, I would
only with
say,
the stigma that I have been infected by virus.
Yes, I would say it would depend on our resilience factor, how resilient we are. We all react to stress conditions very differently. And it would be very difficult to pinpoint one factor because it might be quite a lot of different factors. Our physical strength, our mental strength, which might be developing since the way we were born, our genetics, our environmental factors, the things we have gone through. If someone has probably from older generation to me, if I talk to them and they've seen the partition time, when people became refugees suddenly overnight, they would talk about, those people are much more resilient than the new generation because they've gone through a really, really hard time. Now, even though it is pandemic, we still have a roof over our head. We have got food on our plate.
Yes, so you are right. And more than this, if we go through the literature pertaining to stress reactions, we find that impact of stress is significantly moderated or mediated by three factors. One is vulnerability, genetic vulnerability that we call, and another is personality makeup.
Exactly.
And third one is coping patterns. Yes. I, myself and Dr. Ranveer Singh, we cannot commit suicide. We can murder someone, but we will never commit suicide. Yes. But we are having that type of socialization. That means we have seen such a hard life, and today the present generation, I would like to say, this generation, their behavior is "Meri maa mujhe bacha le" syndrome. They are suffering from "Meri maa mujhe bacha le" syndrome.
Exactly, that's how people come.
Mothers are washing their chaddis up to the 12th standard. They are not self-reliant. So anyway, one of the important moderating or mediating variable here is the personality.
Exactly.
The most universally affected persons are extroverts. Yes, because extroverts, they are having very strong nervous system, and this lockdown has restricted their activities, going out. So they are not getting external stimulation. Introverts, they have converted this lockdown into an opportunity.
Exactly. And also, I came across a research in the medical field that somehow people who suffer with asthma are more likely to survive COVID-19. That was
Yes,
strange
yes. Then
because they know
non-asthmatic
how to live with lack of oxygen.
asthma. Yes, yes, you are right. So that is adaptation. That we can understand it in terms of physiological zero.
Yeah.
By person who is healthy and who comes in contact of the virus or infection, so their body is not used to.
No choices.
And
Yes.
asthmatics, they are used to
Hmm?
COVID. So yes, another factor, that is coping patterns.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's why, despite explaining that these are the general negative impacts of corona, no,
No. No.
eh, it depends upon genetic vulnerability of the persons. It depends upon personality makeup of the persons. It depends
Hmm.
upon the coping patterns and even
Exactly.
attribution styles of the persons.
Yes.
So then to deal with reattributional interventions must be there.
Yes.
In addition to the cognitive perspective, yes, cognitive and behavior interventions basically they develop in contrast to each other.
Mhm.
Behaviorism was there, and behavioristic they were simply explaining in terms of mechanical concepts. And
Mhm.
then cognitive psychologists they were more intended to explain everything in terms of cognitive processes. Then
Mhm.
Kendall combined them, and concept of CBT came into existence. Okay, no, and this CBT perspective is based on the mind-body relationship principle. Okay, what happens in mind, that will definitely have influence upon the body, and what happens in the body, that will have inverse or positive impact on the mental functions. Anyway, I am grateful to now you are Dr. Malika, I think.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh. So I am not thankful to Malika Sharma. I am now thankful to Dr. Malika Sharma for such a nice deliberations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Malika. I would now
Thank you.
request Dr. Vishnu to please extend the vote of thanks. Dr. Vishnu, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Please extend the vote of thanks.
I feel privileged to deliver the vote of thanks for this international webinar on mental health and you learn to be responsible. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor R.C. Kuhar, to be the encouraging patron who have always been there to fulfill with full enthusiasm and motivating force behind all the tiny steps that we take to take its his vision and motivation that all of us are always on our toes. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Professor Radhakrishnan and Dr. Malika Sharma, who have provided so much of insight on this topic. I'm sure it will help us to take good care of our mental health on behalf of university. I cannot thank you all enough for taking out time from your busy schedules and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. Nothing can be achieved without coordinating and functional team. My heartfelt gratitude to Professor Ummeed Singh, the guiding force behind all that we do, and the head of department, Professor V.N. Yadav, to make this webinar happen, and Dr. Pal Chandi for beautifully organizing the webinar. I
Dr.
also
Vishnu,
thank all
Dr.
the team
Ranbir Singh bhi hain.
and my colleagues of CUH for this support. A big thanks to Professor Pramod, Professor Ranbir, Professor Dalal, Professor Anurima Gupta, Professor Sonia Malik, Professor Swarndeep Kohli for joining us. Thank you to Ms. Vania Homan from UK and Palak Lakhani for joining us from Germany. I thank the IT team of university for the flawless conduction of event without whom it would be quite impossible. Last but not the least, I express my gratitude to the participants for the enthusiastically participating in the webinar, for being the mature, curious, and disciplined participants. I'm thankful to each one of who have made this event happen. Thank you.
डॉक्टर साहब नमस्ते।
नमस्ते नमस्ते जी। क्यों गलत तो नहीं कह दिया था, ठीक ही होगी।
हाँ हाँ ना बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा।
सुसाइड नहीं कर सकते हम।
हाँ
खुश हो जाओ।
सर मेंटल
और हम
टफनेस
ये
इतनी थी,
तैयार बैठे हैं,
वी वर
मतलब
सो
ये इतना बड़ा इशू खड़ा कर। हाँ जी,
हमारी ग्रूनी, हम मेंटली टफ बहुत थे, हमारे नीचे कोई हाथ रखने वाले नहीं थे, मिट्टी में खेले कहीं भी खेले।
और
अब तो
जो
पैदा
सुसाइड
होते
करते हैं उनके बारे में ज्यादा शौक प्रैक्टिस
बिल्कुल।
करना चाहिए।
हाँ जी सर,
डिजर्व टू सर्वाइव इन दिस वर्ल्ड।
100% करेक्ट कहा डॉक्टर साहब, हमारा मेंटल
हाँ
पैसा
हाँ जी सर।
हम किसी का 2 कान के नीचे तो लगा देंगे, लेकिन यूं नहीं।
नहीं, 4 खाएंगे तो 2 लगा भी सकते, कोई मार भी सकता आप जैसा ताकतवर सर, ऐसा
हाँ
नहीं
ना,
है
वो
मेरे
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ तो रेजिलिएंट है ना, बाउंसिंग बैक तो है।
बाउंसिंग, यस सर।
ठीक है ना।
पर
मेरी माँ को जामचाली सिंड्रोम तो नहीं है ना, माँ को तो याद नहीं करेंगे ना उस
ना
टाइम।
ना, हाँ फ्लाइट नहीं होगा, वी कैन फाइट, वी विल नॉट।
So, with your kind permission,
डॉक्टर मलिका, आई हैव गिवन ये न्यूट्रम, मेरी माँ मुझे बचा ले सिंड्रोम।
Thank you. This is the Haryanvi version of CBT. Yeah. That's good.
with the kind permission of the members here, we would now like to conclude the session, sir.
Yes.
Please. Umaid sir, please.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Please.